You know it perfectly well because you know me perfectly well. If there is one quote that I'm absolutely allergic to, is when people are telling me, Beppe, we are the new Manchester United. With all the respect for the Reds, we are far from being the new Manchester United. First of all, they have much more money and cash flow than we have. One. Secondly, if you are looking at the result, the latest result, I don't remember that Juventus was competing for avoiding relegation. And if you're looking at the Champions League qualifications, well, guys, stop. But on the other side, Juventus is not helping me, at least if we believe what Sky Sport Italia, Sky Sport UK are reporting, is that Juventus is not only in a deal and quite close to have Jadon Sancho, but also started to inquire, to ask for information for Marcus Rashford. So is it true, not true? What is possible, not possible? We'll reveal you that in today's video and much more. Like, for example, what is linking Nico Gonzalez, Francisco Conceicao, Jadon Sancho. Big update in today's video. Ciao Juventini of the world. My name is Giuseppe. Welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. So if you didn't yet, please, it's the moment to put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's really long time ago. I don't remember when was the last time that we actually went over 1,000 likes. Can we do it today? It depends on you. So I'm counting on you. Tutto sport. Juve, Sancho in arrivo. Juve, Sancho is arriving, and they are even going further, telling us that the agents of the player, this time, they are already in Torino, in the city of Juve, probably already in the Continassa for a meeting that already happened. Is that close? I always told you here on the channel, it's not or Chico or Jadon. I always told you the intention is to do both, and that's where we are heading to. We are close to have both of the players. Conceicao, it's not a done deal yet. I'll give you the details later. Sancho is not a deal yet, but look at the journalists. Look at what they are saying. Nico Schira yesterday said Jadon Sancho is one step away. I know, the steps. Mini steps, but one step away from Juventus, from Manchester United. Already agreed the personal terms with the winger and Juve, which are in advanced talks also now with Manchester United. They try to find an agreement. That agreement could be £50 million for people that are having difficulties to calculate. It's more or less 17.5 million euro. And actually, it has been reported also by an insider of Manchester United, retweeted by Alfredo Pedula, to back up that news, that there is a breaking exclusive news. They all have breaking exclusive news that yesterday, here we go, was really close between the player and Juventus, because there are significant steps between the club and the other club and between the player. 15 million euro bid from Juventus. Probably Manchester is expecting a bit more. So Sancho only wants Juventus. The next 24 hours could be decisive, and that's where it's totally crazy that in the next few hours we could possibly go with a here we fly, with medical visits and with an announcement of Jadon Sancho. Maybe even, who knows, before announcing Francisco Conceicao. Would be totally madness. Gazzetta dello Sport, and that's where we are going towards the second topic of the video, is telling us Sancho vicino. Sancho really close, but there is a double negotiation with Manchester United, because apparently Juve is also interested in Marcus Rashford. Sancho is closer and closer and closer. We see also on page 10 of La Gazzetta, Juventus is impressing, is in contact with Jadon, is in contact with the club for a show attack. Sancho, show. Conceicao, Jonathan David. We said it multiple times here. The intention of Juventus 25-26 will be to score much more than we did in recent past. So I can't wait. I can't wait that the theory, they are selling us, that we can also see it on the field. Also because I would love to have much more reactions to the goals, because last year, I remember, and the year before, has been sometimes a bit difficult. So Marcus Rashford. Juventus are interested in Marcus Rashford, according to Sky Sport Premier League. Because they report the words of Sky Sport in Italy. They have begun to explore the condition of a potential deal for the player. Look, the first thing that I did this time, instead of going towards the injury list, because usually I start with the injury list, this time I decided to go towards something else, the salary. Guys, gross, the player is earning 18 million euro, and on top of that a 4.5 million euro bonus, which leads us towards gross 22.5. If you divide it by 2, you arrive at 11 million euro, something like that, 9 million more or less net, plus 2.2, something like that for the bonus. So we arrive at 11, 5, 12 million euro for the Englishman. And for me, it's already totally absurd to start speaking about that as a possibility. The second thing that is really pushing it away, and I will tell you, is that extracomunitario spot. You know that in Italy they have 2 extra comunitario, which means non-EU player that you can sign. 2 players that are not already in Italy. Because, for example, if a club takes Douglas Luiz, that is Brazilian but is already playing in Italy, it cancel it. You can take it. It's not taking any slot. But if you're taking them from abroad, foreign players that are not in EU, you have 2 slots. One is already Jonathan David, so you have 1 more. But you have an exception. You can take on top of that an English player. So you have 2 plus an English player. What can they do possibly there? They could possibly go with a formula, considering Jadon Sancho English and considering Marcus Rashford as a non-EU. But it would be extremely difficult. It would be extremely difficult that Juventus is actually putting the money on a player that is earning that much, filling in all the slots. According to me, it is not a possible deal. I don't know where they come from. Maybe Manchester said, we are good friends now because you are going for Jadon Sancho. Why are you not looking at Marcus Rashford? So I think that maybe Manchester United, they said, think about it, but Juventus cannot, and I think, basta. I told you, one bet. One bet is much more than enough. I would not go with the end Rashford as well, especially not for that price. Then we go towards another topic about Conceicao. If we are opening O Jogo, Portuguese paper today, they are writing Ate a ultima, which means actually fino alla fine, until the end in Portuguese. So for people that wants to learn a new way of saying fino alla fine in another language, Ate a ultima. Does it mean Francisco Conceicao, apparently according to O Jogo, already have sent the document to say, I don't want the 20%. I don't want the 20% of the clause. That is actually respected to me. We know it. Juventus, they have a deal for 32 million euro. If he would not have said no, I don't refuse them, it would have gone towards the 38 million euro already on top of what we paid for that first year of Francisco at Juventus. But they are quite confident that everything has been done. Yesterday it was a big frustration, big strange situation where we didn't really understand, with ultimatum from the president of Porto to the player. You have 24 hours to sign a document that is a verified document with a verified signature, otherwise we break the deal with Juve. Apparently from Portugal they are reassuring everyone. Now everything is done with Juve apparently. Now Juventus needs to communicate. How can they do it? Well, I told you yesterday in the video, if you were really alert, that these 20%, well, they will not just fly away. Francisco Conceicao will try to recuperate them in a way. So the salary could be potentially increased from the initial offer, so that is not losing. Maybe he will say, okay, I can leave a part like that, but he wants to recuperate a part. And that's where, at the moment, Juventus is probably in talks with the player. But the player already, apparently, according to the Ojogo, said, okay, it's okay, I don't want them anymore. So the deal will go through. Also today, Romeo Agresti confirmed that today Francisco Conceicao is virtually a Juve player. The only thing that is missing now that we have a Francisco Conceicao, now that potentially we have in the next 24 hours a Jadon Sancho, is of course Nico Gonzalez. I think that Juventus is really advancing on the 2 files, on the 2 names, because they have the certainty that the Argentinian will leave Juve. And we know it because there is a lot of interest. We already told you about the Premier League interest. We told you about Saudi Arabia interest. A lot of interest there. They have absolutely no problem to pay and the value of the player 30 million euro plus offering him a 10 million euro salary. He's thinking about it. But pay attention, because on top of Atletico Madrid, there are two clubs that are also on the player from Italy. We're speaking about Atalanta and Inter. If you're looking at Corriere dello Sport today, yes, it's true they are speaking about Yulman, but we already told you everything that we knew at the moment. But they are also saying that Lookman could potentially go to Inter. They are offering 40, Atalanta wants 50. If that deal goes through, well, Atalanta could think about Nico Gonzalez. If it doesn't go through, well, it's Inter that could potentially think about Nico Gonzalez. Pay attention of the name name of Fratesi. I don't want to go into detail here, but Fratesi is still a name that Juventus is thinking about, even if I would not be interested to. But then we have the other side, the right wing. With them, Bangula on the left is leaving, Wea is about to leave. We change. And Klose, that was a name that we were speaking about a few days ago, came back today in Gazzetta dello Sport. Jonathan Klose could be the ideal signing. Ideal according to Tuzor, that already coached him at Marseille, but also according to the other Frenchman, Comoli, that is thinking about it. And who knows, maybe already Modesto, that said, could be a beautiful opportunity. I'm not sold on Jonathan Klose. On the other side, there is possibly an opportunity that Mirko Di Natale is reporting us today, and he's speaking about Molina. Now, Molina, do you remember he was playing at Udinese? He's playing now at Atletico Madrid since a few seasons, since 2022. Well, that was a player that I really wanted at Juve when he was at Udinese. Right back from 175, so it's not the tallest one, also not the shortest one. A player that is fast, that has a value of 20 million euro. Well, Atletico Madrid could potentially be open to loan him out, and that's a beautiful one. Beautiful. A loan with an option would be ideal for now, because we also need to test him. In the last season, he played 2,400 minutes in all competition, only 1,600 in La Liga. He's not a first choice anymore from Diego Simeone, and that's why we are on that player. Between Jonathan Klose or Molina, I made my choice. I don't know you guys, so let me know. I'm really curious to read you in the comment section. You want some updates about Douglas Luiz? Well, Douglas Luiz, Everton is more and more advanced. They could potentially be the club that is signing him. They want to go for a loan with potentially an obligation to buy. At least that's what Juve is asking for, while at the moment Everton is asking for an option to buy 10 million euro immediately, with 30 million at the end of the loan. So if it's an obligation to buy, Juventus, they already say goodbye to Douglas Luiz. Otherwise, we have to wait to understand the best formula. But also here, Juventus is not really in a stress situation. They are not scared, because there are so many offers for the Brazilian player that at the moment they said, okay, we just need to find the best formula. And also, of course, I told you this week it will not happen. Probably in the next few weeks, Douglas Luiz will think about it. I want to go with a latest news. It's about Dusan Vlahovic, that will not be put out of the team at the moment. So on the 24th of July, when we start back to train together, he will not be out of the team. He will train regularly with the team. They spoke already, the management and the entourage. There is no way to find an agreement. So Juventus is just waiting for an offer about 20-25 million euro for the player, so that he can leave, and probably also participating to actually close the gap between the new salary in a new team from Dusan and what they actually needed to be paid at Juve, the difference paid by Juve. But these are discussions for the future. At the moment, he's the only possible sub from Jonathan David, because we didn't find an agreement at the moment with Kolo Muani. Talks that will continue in the end of this week and probably also next week. Ragazzi, that was it for today's video. There are more news, but I didn't want to make it too long, so if you didn't, please put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Grazie, forza, Juve.